All right, so today we're going to be diving into something that might sound a little, well, dry on the surface, lean management, but
Sure.
I promise it's a lot more interesting than it sounds, especially if you're, interested in the Romanian business world.
Absolutely. What we has here is a really fascinating look at lean management, not just the theory, but how it's actually playing out in on the ground
Hmm.
in Romania.
Yeah.
And our guide for this deep dive is an expert named Constantin Magdalena. He has 15 years of experience working with multinational companies both in Romania and abroad.
Yeah, and this is interesting because Romania, I mean, we all know it's kind of this hub for economic activity,
Yeah.
but it seems to be lagging behind a little bit in adopting lean practices.
Mhm.
And this is especially strange because lean management can be a real game changer for companies when they're facing things like tight margins or really, really tough competition, which is
Shop
something we
talk.
see a lot in Romania.
It's true. You'd think it would be more widely used.
Yeah.
In fact, Konstantin points out that only about 20% of Romanian companies are actually using lean. And even then, it's mostly in production and IT. So the big question is, why?
Yeah. Why?
Why aren't more companies jumping on board?
Yeah. Okay. So before we get into like the reasons why not, maybe we should take a step back. What exactly is lean management?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like
How do we
at its core,
define it?
lean is about eliminating waste, in all its forms
Hmm.
to ensure that you're delivering maximum value to the customer.
Hmm.
And Constantine, really emphasizes this point right from the start about stripping away anything that's not contributing to that goal.
Okay, so that sounds pretty straightforward, but I imagine it's probably like a lot more complicated than it sounds.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Lean is all about continuous refinement, continuous adaptation, which can be challenging. And it's interesting to note that lean actually has its roots in the Toyota production system,
Hmm.
which is known worldwide for its efficiency and its really high quality output.
Oh, wow, Toyota.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a system with a proven track record.
Yeah.
It's focused on, making sure the customer is getting the most value.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see the appeal here. So back to that question.
Yeah.
Why aren't more Romanian companies embracing this?
Or
It seems like a no-brainer, especially with, all of the different economic pressures that they're facing.
right, that's where things get really interesting.
I figure.
Constantine actually argues that because of those very challenges, the tight margins, the intense
Yeah.
competition,
Mm.
that lean is even more important for their success.
Oh, okay.
He actually cites studies that show companies that use lean report a 30% reduction in their operating costs and a 25% increase in productivity.
Whoa, hold on. 30% reduction in costs.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's huge.
that's got to get anybody's attention. I mean, you
Ah,
think about like if a company could then take those savings and put them back into, I don't know, research and development, or maybe even offer their employees better salaries to attract the best people.
yeah.
It seems like it could give them a real competitive advantage.
Absolutely. And that's a crucial point. Lean isn't just about cutting costs for the sake of cutting cost. It's about optimizing every part of how your company operates, which then allows you to, be more competitive not just locally, but even on a global scale.
Hmm. So if I'm understanding this right,
Yeah.
lean can help a company make more money,
Yeah.
become more competitive.
Yeah.
But is it JST about, the bottom line?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And this is something that Konstantin is very passionate about. Lean can also have a really big impact on company culture
Hmm.
and how satisfied the employees are. It's not just about squeezing more, output from your workers.
Right.
It's about creating an environment
Yeah.
where employees feel valued, feel empowered, and are really engaged in the idea of continuous improvement.
Okay, so that makes sense. I would imagine, a more engaged workforce is probably going to be more productive.
Yeah.
And more innovative too, right?
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
but how does lean like achieve that? Is there some kind of secret sauce?
Well, there isn't really a secret sauce,
Okay.
but there are a few core principles that underpin the lean approach.
Okay.
And those are what we're going to be unpacking next.
All right. I'm all ears. Let's get into the nitty-gritty here. How does lean actually work?
So let's break down some of these lean principles that Konstantin highlights in his work.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one is this concept of eliminating waste,
Okay.
or as it's known in Japanese, Muda.
Muda. Okay, so what exactly counts as waste when we're talking about lean?
Yeah.
Like, is it like leaving the lights on when you leave the office?
Well, that could be a part of it.
Okay.
But really, it's about, identifying anything that doesn't add value for the customer.
Okay.
So it could be, excess inventory,
Mm-hmm.
unnecessary processes,
Mm,
even like waiting around to get approvals for things.
right.
Imagine a company that has a warehouse full of products that are just sitting there collecting dust.
Yeah.
That's a classic example of Muda.
Okay, so it's about like streamlining everything
Yeah.
and getting rid of anything that's not really helping you reach that end goal.
Exactly. And Constantine even breaks Muda down further
Okay.
into different categories. So like, you have overproduction, defects, waiting, transportation, inventory, motion, overprocessing,
Wow.
all these different, types of waste can really have a big impact on how efficient and profitable a company is.
Yeah, I imagine that level of detail is really important.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's not just about waste in general. It's about, like, really understanding the specific ways that, waste might be sort of hiding within an organization.
Exactly. Now, the next principle is all about continuous improvement, or Kaizen.
Kaizen. Okay.
And it's the idea that you're never really done improving.
Hmm.
There's always room for refinement, always room for optimization.
So it's not just about, like, fixing what's broken.
Right.
It's about constantly looking for ways to make things even better.
Exactly.
I guess that's where the lean part comes in.
Yeah.
Always trying to be as efficient as possible.
Exactly. And it's not about, making big radical changes overnight.
Right.
Kaizen's about small incremental improvements that add up over time.
Oh.
Think of it like you're constantly tweaking a recipe
Mm-hmm.
to make it even more delicious.
Yeah.
Each little adjustment might seem small on its own, but collectively they can make a big difference.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got eliminating waste.
Mm-hmm.
We've got continuous improvement. What else is in this lean toolbox?
Well, customer focus is a big one.
Okay.
Lean really puts the customer's needs and expectations at the center of every decision.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about, really understanding what the customer values
Yeah,
and then making sure you deliver that consistently.
that makes sense. I mean, without happy customers, you don't have a business.
Right.
But how is lean different than, traditional marketing that focuses on the customer?
Well, the difference is in how that customer focus is actually baked into the operations of the business.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about understanding what customers prefer.
Yeah.
It's about actually designing your processes, designing your systems
Right.
to consistently go above and beyond those expectations.
So it's like it's not just talk, it's actually walking the walk when it comes to customer satisfaction.
Exactly. And then finally, we have employee empowerment. Lean recognizes that the success of any company really depends on the people who are actually doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
It's about creating a culture where employees are, they're not just cogs in a machine.
Right.
They're active participants in problem solving
Yeah.
and in this continuous improvement.
Right. I can see how that ties back to Kaizen.
Yeah.
If everyone has the power to like spot areas for improvement and then, address those areas, then the whole company benefits.
Exactly. And Constantine points out that in a lean environment, employees are encouraged to share their ideas, experiment with new approaches, and really take ownership of their work.
So it's about like fostering a sense of shared responsibility, like we're all in this together kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And if you think about the Romanian context specifically,
Mm-hmm.
this emphasis on employee empowerment
Yeah.
could be a real game changer.
Oh, why is that? Is there something like specific about the Romanian workforce that makes that principle more important there?
Well, think about their history, right?
Okay.
For decades, Romanian companies operated under a very top-down
Hmm.
hierarchical structure.
Right.
This was a legacy of the communist era
Yeah.
where individual initiative, wasn't exactly encouraged.
Right. So you're saying lean with its focus on empowering employees is kind of offering a totally different model.
Yeah.
One that encourages people to think for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
contribute their ideas.
Exactly. And that can be so powerful, especially in an economy like Romania's, which is, constantly changing, constantly evolving.
Right.
Companies really have to be agile and adaptable to succeed.
Okay, so we've got these 4 principles then that kind of form the foundation of lean and
Yeah.
eliminating waste,
Mm-hmm.
continuous improvement,
Right.
customer focus, and then employee empowerment. It all, it sounds really great in theory,
Yeah.
but as we were saying before, there seems to be this disconnect
Mhm.
between how great lean could be
Hmm.
and how much it's actually being used in Romania.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
So that brings us back to, the question of why
Yeah.
why aren't more Romanian companies using it?
Yeah. What are those roadblocks?
Yeah, what's holding them back from embracing this, seemingly transformative approach?
Yeah. So Konstantin outlines a few key obstacles in his work,
Oh,
and I think you'll find it pretty interesting. The first one he points to is organizational mentality.
okay.
Some Romanian companies, especially the ones that have been around for a while, they can be pretty rigid in their ways of working.
Hmm.
They're used to that hierarchical structure,
Yeah.
lots of bureaucracy.
That sounds like the exact opposite of what we were just talking about with lean, right?
Right.
Like agile, adaptable.
Yeah. It's like,
It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
exactly. Yeah. Lean requires a real shift in mindset.
Yeah.
It's moving away from that, top down,
Right.
tell people what to do kind of approach
Right.
to something that's more collaborative,
Yeah.
more about, problem solving together.
Right.
And that could be a really tough transition for some organizations, especially if they've been doing things the same way for, decades.
Right. So it's not just about like implementing new tools or techniques. It's
Yeah.
about like changing the whole culture of the company.
Exactly.
That makes sense. So what else gets in the way of companies adopting lean?
Another big one is lack of expertise.
Okay.
Implementing lean in a way that's actually effective. It's not something you could just like learn overnight.
Right.
It requires specialized knowledge and skills.
So you're saying it's not enough to just like, read a book about it
Right.
or go to a weekend seminar.
Yeah. You need people who really understand the nuances of lean
Yeah.
and how to apply it in a specific organization.
Right.
And that's where some companies kind of fall short.
Okay.
They try to implement lean on their own without, getting the right training
Yeah.
or bringing consultants.
Right.
And then they get frustrated when they don't see the results they were hoping for.
It's like trying to perform surgery
Yeah.
after watching a YouTube video.
Exactly. Yeah.
You might have the basic idea,
Right.
but you're probably going to cause more harm than good.
Exactly. And then the final obstacle Constantine highlights is resistance to change.
Okay.
And this is something, we see everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not unique to Romania.
Right.
People just naturally resist change,
Yeah.
even if it's going to make things better in the long run.
Yeah. Change can be scary,
Yeah.
especially when you've been doing things a certain way for a long time.
Absolutely. So the question is, how do you overcome that?
Right.
How do you get people on board with this whole lean philosophy?
Yeah. How do you?
Well, Konstantin, he emphasizes the importance of leadership.
Okay.
He says, leaders need to be they need to be champions for lean.
Mm-hmm.
They need to clearly communicate
Yeah.
why this change is necessary,
Okay.
what the benefits are going to be,
Right.
and how it's going to impact everyone in the organization.
So it's not just about, giving orders.
Right.
It's about inspiring people to try this new way of thinking.
Exactly. And it's also important to involve employees in the process,
Mm-hmm.
right, for the beginning.
Okay.
Let them be part of the solution. Give them a
Yeah.
voice in how lean is implemented.
Right.
That way they'll feel more ownership and buy-in.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so let's say there's a Romanian company out there.
Mm-hmm.
They're ready to take the plunge. They've addressed these obstacles.
Right.
They're committed to lean.
Okay.
Where do they even begin?
Yeah, well, Konstantin, he actually provides a really practical roadmap for getting started.
Mm-hmm.
He says the first step is to conduct what he calls an initial assessment.
Okay.
So this is about identifying the key processes in the company
Yeah.
and figuring out where the biggest areas of waste are hiding.
So it's like doing a deep clean of your business.
Yeah, yeah.
You're going through every little nook and cranny,
Hmm.
looking for places where you can be more efficient.
Exactly. And once you've identified those areas where you can improve,
Yeah.
the next step is to set some clear objectives.
Okay.
So what does success actually look like with
Hmm.
lean? Is it faster production,
Right.
happier customers,
Yeah.
lower costs?
Hmm.
You need to define those goals up front
Right.
so that you can track your progress and measure the impact.
Makes sense. You got to have something to aim for.
Exactly. And once you've set those objectives, you need to form a dedicated lean implementation team.
Okay.
So this should be a cross-functional team with
Hmm.
people from different departments
Okay.
who are trained in those lean principles and techniques that we were talking about.
So it's like a lean task force,
Yeah.
a group of experts who can, guide the process and sort of spread that lean philosophy throughout the company.
Exactly. Now, Constantine recommends, rather than trying to roll out lean across the whole company all at once,
Okay.
start with a pilot project.
Okay. So start small.
Yeah, yeah. Pick one area
Okay.
or one process to focus on,
Hmm.
and then apply lean principles there first.
All right. So it's kind of a more measured approach.
Right.
Test the waters before you jump in head first.
Exactly. The pilot project allows you to learn,
Hmm.
to adapt,
Yeah.
fine-tune your approach
Hmm.
before you try to scale it up to the whole company.
Okay.
And remember, feedback is super important throughout this whole process.
Right.
Encourage employees to share their observations,
Yeah.
their ideas,
Hmm.
and make adjustments as needed.
Right. Because lean is about, continuous improvement.
Exactly.
So you have to be willing to kind of tweak things as
Mhm.
you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about creating that culture of learning and experimentation,
Right.
constantly trying to find ways to get better.
Okay, so taking these steps, even if they seem small at first,
Yeah.
can ultimately lead to like a total transformation of how the company works.
Absolutely. And what's really interesting about Constantine's perspective
Mm-hmm.
is that he sees lean as more than just a set of tools and techniques.
Right.
He sees it as a fundamental shift
Yeah.
in how we think and act,
Mm-hmm.
a new way to approach all the different challenges and opportunities that businesses face.
And that's a really powerful idea.
Yeah.
Especially for Romanian companies that are, trying to figure out how to thrive in this globalized economy.
Yeah.
If lean can help them be more efficient,
Mm-hmm.
more innovative,
Yeah.
more
Right.
customer focused,
Right.
it really could change everything.
Absolutely. And if we